Hi guys, how are you all? All good? How have you been? I hope everything is fine at your end. Okay, so let's start our new story, which is named The Whispering Willow. In two parts, part one and part two. So we'll read both parts and also along with the moral of the story. So let's start. Long ago, at the edge of a peaceful valley, there stood an enormous willow tree, unlike any other. Its silver green branches stretched toward the sky, and whenever the evening breeze passed through its leaves, it sounded as though the tree was softly whispering. The villagers called it the Whispering Willow. Some believed the tree was enchanted, others believed it was simply very old, but everyone agreed on one thing. The willow had never spoken to just anyone. According to an ancient legend, the tree whispered only to those whose hearts were burdened by fear, sadness, or difficult choices. Near the willow lived a 17-year-old girl named Clara. Clara dreamed of becoming a painter whose artwork would inspire people. She filled dozens of sketchbooks with landscapes, flowers, rivers, and smiling faces. Yet every time someone praised her paintings, she quietly replied, "They are not good enough." She compared herself to famous artists and convinced herself she would never succeed. Her father often encouraged her. Talent grows with patience. But Clara couldn't silence the voice inside her mind that kept saying she would fail. One autumn afternoon, the village announced a grand art festival. Artists from across the kingdom would display their finest work, and the winner would receive a scholarship to the Royal Academy of Arts. It was an opportunity Clara had always dreamed about. Yet instead of feeling excited, she became frightened. What if everyone laughs? What if I'm not good enough? Unable to decide, Clara wandered toward the old willow tree. As the golden evening sun filtered through its branches, a gentle breeze began to blow. For the first time in her life, she heard the whispers. Why do you hide your gift? Clara froze. She looked around, no one was there, only the willow. I am afraid. The leaves rustled softly. Afraid of failing? Clara nodded. Yes. Again the branches swayed. The only true failure is never trying. Clara stood silently. She wasn't sure whether she had imagined the woods. Before leaving, she noticed something tucked between the tree's roots. It was an old wooden paintbrush. Its handle was smooth with age, and tiny carved leaves decorated the wood. Curious, Clara picked it up. On the handle were four words: Paint with your heart. That night, Clara began creating a new painting. She didn't try to impress anyone. She simply painted everything she loved about her village: the children laughing by the river, the baker sharing warm bread, birds flying across the sunrise, and the magnificent whispering willow standing proudly over the valley. Hour after hour, she painted with joy instead of fear. Days later, she carried the finished canvas to the festival. The exhibition hall was enormous. Hundreds of breathtaking paintings covered the walls. Some were so beautiful that Clara almost turned around and went home. Her hands trembled. Maybe she wasn't good enough after all. Just then she noticed the old wooden paintbrush inside her bag. She remembered the willow's whisper. The only true failure is never trying. Taking a deep breath, Clara walked forward and placed her painting among the others. She had no idea that before the judges announced the winner, something unexpected would change her life forever. Now, Whispering Willow, Part 2. The exhibition hall buzzed with excitement as visitors admired thousands of beautiful paintings. Some depicted majestic castles, others showed roaring oceans or colorful gardens. Clara quietly stood near the back of the room, hoping no one would notice her. She watched as people stopped in front of her painting. An elderly woman smiled warmly. It feels peaceful, she whispered. A young boy pointing toward the painted willow tree. I wish I could sit under that tree, he said to his mother. Instead of judging Clara's technique, people were connecting with the emotions in her artwork. For the first time, Clara realized that art was more than perfect brushstrokes. It was about making people feel something. Soon the judges began walking through the gallery. Among them was the kingdom's most respected artist, Master Rowan. He studied every painting carefully without saying a word. When he reached Clara's painting, he remained there much longer than anyone expected. Finally, he turned toward the crowd. Who painted this? Clara slowly raised her hand. I did it. Master Rowan smiled kindly. What inspired you? Clara hesitated. I painted the place I love most. And why did you choose ordinary village life instead of grand palaces or famous landmarks? Clara looked at her painting. Because kindness, family, and hope are beautiful too. The room became silent. Master Rowan noted. Many artists paint what they think others want to see, but you painted what your heart wanted to say. His words filled Clara with quiet confidence. Later that afternoon, the judges announced the winner, third place, second place, and then came the final announcement. The winner of this year's Royal Art Festival is crowd held its breath. Clara of Willow Valley. The hall erupted in applause. Clara could hardly believe what she had heard. As she walked to the stage, tears filled her eyes. Master Rowan handed her a golden medal and a letter of admission to the Royal Academy. But before sitting down, he addressed everyone in the hall. Today, we did not choose the most complicated painting. We chose the painting that reminded us of something we often forget. Beauty lives in simple acts of kindness. Those words stayed with Clara forever. Months later, she began studying at the Royal Academy. Her classmates were incredibly talented. Once again, self doubt quietly returned. Whenever she compared herself to others, she left as though didn't belong. One evening, feeling discouraged, Clara opened a small wooden box where she kept the old paintbrush. As she held it, she remembered the whispering willow. During her next visit home, she hurried to the ancient tree. The branches gently swayed in the evening breeze. The familiar whisper returned. Do you still fear here failure? Clara smiled a little. Then remember, The leaves rustled softly. Even the tallest tree began as a tiny seed. Clara looked around the valley. Young saplings surrounding the old willow. Each one was growing at its own pace. None tried to become another tree. They simply reached toward the sunlight. At that moment, Clara understood. Comparing herself to others only distracted her from becoming the best version of herself. Years passed. Clara became one of the kingdom's most beloved artists. Her paintings hung in schools, libraries, hospitals, and homes rather than only in royal palaces. People said her artwork brought peace to anyone who looked at it. When reporters asked about the secret behind her success, she never spoke about awards. Instead, she smiled and said, I stopped painting to impress people. I started painting to encourage them. As she grew older, Clara often returned to the Whispering Willow. Children from nearby villages would gather beneath its branches carrying paper and paint. Instead of teaching them how to become famous artists, she taught them something far more valuable. Paint what brings you joy. Paint what gives others hope. And never let fear decide what you create. One spring morning, a shy little girl approached Clara. She held a crumpled drawing behind her back. I'm afraid people will laugh at my picture, she whispered. Clara gently handed her the old wooden brush, the same one she had found beneath the willow years ago. The little girl looked surprised. Is it magical? Clara smiled. The magic isn't in the brush. It's in believing that your heart has something worth sharing. The little girl smiled, unfolded her drawing, and proudly showed it to everyone. Children applauded. Above them, the ancient willow's branches swayed gently in the breeze. If someone listened carefully, they might have heard the leaf whisper once more. Courage grows every time we choose to believe in ourselves. And so the whispering willow continued standing at the edge of the valley, reminding every generation that true success begins not with the perfect talent, but with the courage to share the gifts already with us. Now, moral of the story. Believe in yourself and don't let fear stop you from sharing your unique gifts. True success comes when you create with honesty, kindness, and the courage to follow your heart, not by comparing yourself to others. So that was a whispering willow story. So please comment how much do you like my voice, and if any sensation has been produced because of it, please let me know. Thank you.